Okay, it's great to have a big bag of money and sitting on the couch, but that's not something we are going to be happy with.
Edwin, so explain a little bit what Moneybird is then.
Our mission is to automate the financial side of business for an entrepreneur. As soon as you start, you have this financial side of a business you didn't ask for, but you get for free.
Yeah.
And we are here to automate it for them and make it as easy as possible so you can focus really on what is the thing you started entrepreneurship for you instead of all these things around it. Working as an entrepreneur and just grinding away every day, no one knows this. But as soon as you have funding rounds or exits, then suddenly everyone is paying attention.
Yep.
Now I'm Edwin from Moneybird and I get invited on podcasts talking about what I'm doing. As soon as I sell my business, who am I and how can I make an impact again with the things I like to do?
Is it then fair to say that you are basically just doing this until it's no longer fun? Edwin.
Yes.
I start all my podcasts with the same question because I find it important to establish it for the rest of the conversation. That question is, are you happy?
Yeah, I am.
What, in your opinion, is required to live a happy life?
Many things. No worries about basic stuff like having food and shelter and having enough money. And on the other hand, also having purpose in life, doing something you like and having the right people around you to do this. So many things.
Do you believe we should chase happiness?
Yeah, I think everyone should be happy, and but on the other hand, sometimes it's difficult because not all parts can be happy. So not all the different things can be happy. So that's something you need to work towards. I think that's always good to try for.
Yeah. For this podcast, I have a guiding research hypothesis, and that hypothesis is that passion gives purpose. What is your opinion on that?
Absolutely true.
Do you have a passion?
Yeah, I think my basic passion is building great products and helping people with these products. It's not specifically what I'm doing now, as in it can be any product. I'm currently working on accounting for small and medium enterprises. But if my life would have taken another turn, I would be working in a completely different market. I will probably be equally happy and passionate about solving this. Mm-hmm. My background is software engineering, so as long as it's involving software, then it's something I can find my passion in, and therefore also my success and happiness.
Why software engineering? What attracted you to that?
It was very early on. When I was young, I found computers very interesting. So I started with basic building websites and such. And when I came to choosing a study, I was quite profound in already building websites. So I initially thought about maybe I should do something like industrial design or product engineering or product design. Mm-hmm. But then I looked at what the computer science was offering on the university over here, and then I saw that there was many more to learn, and then I did a deep dive into what computer science is really and what's going on, and that was very interesting. So, and I think computer science allows you to solve the complex issues and make it easier for the end user.
Yeah,
and this is a little bit of a puzzle you always need to solve, and I like puzzles, so that's why I like this sector to work in.
Right. It's nice that you describe it that way, because often I think especially the sciences and maths and computer IT is often considered very dry material. And yet,
absolutely,
I've spoken to you, but also to Leo Steinberg, an urban planner, who also codes a lot.
Yeah.
And the way they talk about it actually sounds like a very creative thing.
Yeah, you need to have the building blocks to the basic knowledge and building blocks. That's really the math and the complex things. Mm-hmm. But as soon as you master these, then it's really more creativity and it's a little. My master says I'm a computer architect, and an architect is also a really creative job, of course. And but you need to know the basics of building a building. You need to know what gravity is and how things work together. Yeah. And that's the same with computer architectures and also building products is also you need to listen to your end users. You need to find creative solutions to problems. So that's something we always chase for in the company. But also as a person, I find it very interesting to have a look at how these things work together and how this goes. Yeah.
Would you then also call yourself a creative person?
Yeah, I'm kind of creative, but I'm also really an engineer. So
Okay.
as soon as it's too complex, you shouldn't let me draw a painting, for example.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's very. You can maybe have a look into music, for example. I'm a musician, and I'm a classical musician, and I'm quite good at it. But I need to have sheets of music in front of me. As soon as you ask me to do some kind of improvisation or something, then that's absolutely not my thing. But on the other hand, the classical music is music of rules of things that you need to follow. That's something that's working for me, and then I'm creative. But I need to have the rules and the building blocks to be creative and find the puzzle to solve it.
Yeah. I was going through your sort of LinkedIn profile and saw that the company, which we'll get into in a sec, that you're working on now is not necessarily the first company that you developed. What were your sort of first experiences with entrepreneurship like?
Yeah, it started with what I already said about I found computers very interesting, and I did some HTML and website building, and that evolved into a little bit of web hosting and domain registration. It was really for people I knew, people in the neighborhood where I was living, and then at a certain time it became this professional that I needed to have a Chamber of Commerce registration. So then I became an entrepreneur. Okay. So it was really a hobby that became an enterprise. I was a freelancer. I kept on freelancing also during my studies. It was really nice to have a little bit of a side business and learn a little bit more about engineering. And that's how I also got involved with my current co-founders of the current business that I got to know. I did some freelancing for them, and from the one thing came the other, and now we are running a business for 15 years already. Yeah. So that's a little bit of the history of my entrepreneurships.
But did that company then, or well, if it's just you as a freelance at some point, I assume you had to move on. At what point did what you're working on currently come into the picture then?
Yeah, what the thing with my freelance was that I had some recurring business, and I needed to build this current recurring business. And so I built as a software engineer, you build kind of a little bit of a script that handles this, that could automatically send invoices to my clients, and then I didn't need to look after it because I was also studying and I wanted to do some freelance work. So I automated this, and that was working really great. And I was talking to other entrepreneurs that also had this issue and say, yeah, there's some really simple solution to send these invoices, and preferably automatically, then that would be a really game changer for us. Yeah. But my script wasn't really ready for this, and I was working with my co-founders Joost and Berend, and they had another business, and it was kind of winding down. It wasn't really successful at that time, and I said, yeah, I have this idea, I have this script, and probably if we put a little bit of more time into it, we can make it work and maybe make it a small business. So we decided over the summer, when we didn't have any college to attend, let's build it out. Let's improve the script, make it a web application, and launch it and see what's going to happen. And that was really how my freelancing and my the frustration I had with billing evolved into what's currently Moneybird.
Right. Before we dive into Moneybird, how would you describe your 20s?
My 20s. I think it's really a phase of growth for me personally. I came to the university, and studying was great, but I didn't have a lot with really the students around me, my classmates. I became active into the music. We had a great classical orchestra on the university. That was more like the people I like to hang out with, and I did a lot of also activities over there, and a lot of great journeys we made, and concerts we did, and that is also the time I met my co-founders and really started becoming more of an entrepreneur than only a freelancer, and that's how I grew into what's currently Moneybird, and also my role at Moneybird. So it was really a time of really fast growth with several things that happened at the same time. Yeah.
You already asked me a little before we started about the term the quarter life crisis. So I'll explain what the quarter life crisis means for me, and then I'm curious to see if you ever had something like that. So for me, I finished with my master in July of this year. And what I realized was, even though I'm unless I went for a PhD, but otherwise I am fully educated. I still had no clue what I really wanted to do, right? So I at that point had done a master in content and media strategy, and even with that, I still have like, okay, what industry do I want to go in? What business do I want to go into content specifically, or maybe marketing in general, or branding, or growth, or CRM? The list goes on and on.
Yeah.
And as such, I ended up in this quarter life crisis. Now it goes a little bit together with this period of half my friends are still getting wasted every weekend, and the other half of my friends are getting babies, and
and
all
very
of a
serious
sudden,
in life.
exactly, all of a sudden everything kind of comes together, and then you're like, this must be the quarter life crisis.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a period like that you can sort of resonate with any parts of it, maybe?
Yeah, no. I think a lot of studies from also classmates and friends of mine always had this clear idea: if I do the study, then I will become. If you do medicine, you will become a doctor. It's clear, and you need some changes about it. You need to make some choices about what kind of doctor you want to be. But it's not the path is quite settled. If you're doing software engineering and it's comparable to your masters, you can do everything. You can work in every sector. And
exactly.
My luck was that Moneybird started already during my masters. So when I was finished, I had the choice of either I go on with Moneybird and it's going to be success, or I need to find something else. And probably the find something else could become a quarter life crisis, because you need to make choices about what you want to do. But Moneybird was working out. It wasn't that large that yet, but it was going well and it was growing. So we said to each other, let's find out what can happen if we are going to do this full time for a couple of years, and then we can make a choice if we want to keep on or not. And that's solved a little bit of this problem, because I was already working a lot on Moneybird during my graduation.
Right.
Yeah, and the day after graduation, I just went to the Moneybird office again and kept on working on my startup. Not much changed, except that I had a lot more time for Moneybird and didn't need to worry about my graduation and my masters anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that's solved this a little bit, and a lot of things also with my my activities during my study, like the orchestra or friends that kept on going even after graduation. I kept on playing with the orchestra for a few years after my graduation, for example. So it's not like I was all of a sudden I was moving to the other side of the country with a new job and no friends around. And so no, I don't. I can imagine it could happen if there were some other things going on in my life, but for me it was just gradually moving forward. And all of a sudden you have a full-time job and everything is going well, and you're really settling into in Enschede here where I did my studies. I also get some questions at reunions, for example, are you still living in Enschede, and why? The only reason I never made a choice about living in Enschede, it was just because my business started here, and we had our office here, so no need to move. So never made a change to stay, but also never needed to move. So that's some things just go gradually this way, and then you end up being here and being happy and having a great life.
On that topic of being located in Enschede, obviously Moneybird is growing pretty quickly, and I think there might be a lot of other entrepreneurs that would then make the decision to move more towards sort of Amsterdam, the Randstad, where talent is like it's subjective.
Absolutely,
that's why I do this. But that is somehow a normal move that people would make. Why do you not do that?
I think it's a little bit of a stupid move, because talent is here also. And there are less startups in Enschede that are fighting for the talent compared to Amsterdam. It depends a little bit on also the kind of business. We serve small enterprises, and they are everywhere in Holland. We don't need to go to these people. We don't invite our customers to our office, so it doesn't matter where we are. Even if we would be completely remote, our customers wouldn't notice. So having this office doesn't really matter. And I hear a lot of people saying, "Okay, I need to have this presence in Amsterdam or in the Randstad somewhere." So they start an office which is very expensive and a hustle to get to every time. And I don't think it's really worth that effort. Maybe if you really have international customers that flying into Schiphol and want to be on the Heergracht in some kind of fancy office, then it might help. But I think for most companies, you really should focus on the business. And I saw a lot of startups starting in Amsterdam during the time we started with Moneybird. Great startups, but there was always something going on for startups. They could go and do an event every night.
Yeah.
And I think not having an event every night, but only once a month, kept us focused on the growth of Moneybird and what needed to happen, compared to only being active in really the startup scene and not really building on your startup maybe.
Interesting. But it sounds then like you're very aware of, how do you say that? Not getting too caught up in these status things, the having a big fancy office, and even though you have a beautiful office, don't get me wrong, but in Amsterdam, whatever, that these things take you away from the sort of things that are important. Where does that awareness come from, in your opinion?
I think it's also with maybe a little bit the Twentse nuchterheid.
Okay.
So down to earth.
Yeah.
And also maybe it comes also back again to being more of a product designer and a software engineer. Things need to be practical. So for an office, we have a great office, but it's absolutely not the most fancy office you can find. We actually had quite a fancy office before this office, with great high ceilings and all. That was in the former brewery of Grols over here. It was a great office, but it was completely unusable because there was always echoes and sound issues, and it was too hot or too cold. So we have now a very boring system ceiling. How do you call it? Systeemplafond in Dutch.
Yeah.
But it works great because the acoustics are great and the temperature regulation is great. So I think as an engineer you admire the practicalities of these things, you need to empower your team to do the great things, and that's not always tied to status or to the most fancy things, but just things that work and that are functional.
Yeah.
And that's also how we build Moneybird. It needs to be functional. It doesn't need to be. We never built the landing page first and then we think about features. We first build features, and more than once we forgot to update the landing page with the new features we had because we are not really the marketeers. We were more the product designers.
Fair enough. I actually reached out to you because I'm a user of Moneybird myself, and I was indeed curious about the people behind it. So explain a little bit what Moneybird is then.
Well, Moneybird started out with really a solution for invoices for freelancers, sending an invoice, registering a payment, sending reminders. This was really basic stuff. We got a lot of attraction by small and medium-sized enterprises back in 2008 when we started, because they really were looking for something that was really easy to do and work with. And these customers were also giving us feedback about what they needed more, like I have a receipt and I want to store it, or I have financial transactions I want to store, and so we kept on growing into more like a complete accounting solution or bookkeeping solution. So that was something we kept on investing in, and more recently we made more of a move into also offering bank accounts and bank credit cards, because we also saw that there was a lot of hassle for entrepreneurs with the connection between the bookkeeping and their bank. So that's something we saw we could greatly improve and automate more based on the feedback of customers and also ideas we had ourselves. So now we are more our mission is to automate the financial side of business for an entrepreneur. It's something you get for free. As soon as you start, you have this financial side of a business you didn't ask for, but you get for free.
Yeah.
And we are here to automate it for them and make it as easy as possible, so you can focus really on what is the thing you started entrepreneurship for you, instead of all these things around it.
As you already explained a little bit, it sort of developed naturally out of an original idea. Was there, like, at any point where you questioned for yourself, or like that you set an end point, like once we achieve this, then we're done, or has it always just naturally developed as a result?
It naturally developed. We moved the goalposts sometime. For example, in the beginning, I always thought we couldn't become an accounting solution because we weren't accountants. So how could we build an accounting solution that worked and was correct, and not having an accounting background? in the end, we started building a lot, and then the accountants came to us and said, "Yeah, you have an accounting solution. You only need to change this and this, and then you are ready." So we moved the goalpost and said, "Okay, now we are an accounting solution." There were also times that initially our company was called Blue Tools BV, and we had Moneybird as a product, and we thought, okay, when Moneybird is finished, we can maybe develop other products. We are still 15 years later building on Moneybird and never launched a second product. So we found out that we could invest a lot of time in improving this and making it better and more automated for our end users. But also there are still new developments. The launch of bank accounts wasn't possible five or 6 years ago because the way this works now wasn't ready back then. Now it's possible. So we are moving our goalposts again. Okay, now we want to be bank accounts. Last week was a week where all the artificial intelligence things went completely bogus with all the new things. This gives a lot of new opportunities also for us. So we might be moving the goalposts again to see how much we can automate really based on all these new techniques that are coming out. So it's gradually over time you have always new ideas and new challenges you have, and you can reach further than we might anticipated earlier on.
Yeah. Is it then fair to say that you are basically just doing this until it's no longer fun?
Yeah.
Pretty much. Is that also maybe advice as to what people should do more?
If you can find something that's fun to do, you should always do it as long as it's fun. But I think you should be open to having a little bit less fun sometimes if you know you can change it for the better later on. I had many times in my Moneybird career that business is growing. Suddenly you're only doing support tickets instead of building software, or suddenly you're only handling all kinds of team HR stuff, and these are the growth pains every business has, and you as an entrepreneur has, but as long as your business, you are in control of your business and you can decide, okay, and then I'm going to hire people to fix this for me, then you can make your business and your life and your work happy and nice again. And this is always changing. There are things now that I'm doing that I know are really important for Moneybird, but I also know I'm doing this once and I want to have people for it if I need to do it again next year, for example. So we are finding new people for these things and to expand the team. So fun is always the goal, but it's in the moment it can be there are always things that are required now and that you as an entrepreneur do because it's important, but you shouldn't be doing it next year because then the fun is not there anymore.
Yeah. There's a jar in front of you, and we'll get to sort of your question at the end. But yesterday in the jar, basically I collect community questions, and yesterday I interviewed Tommy Nissen, who works in healthcare. Anyway, he got the question: what was a time when you nearly quit? And what made you keep going? And I want to ask that question to you as well. I'm quite curious.
I think nearly quitting, we haven't really been near quitting, not really close, but we had conversations about it. And there was a time when, for example, my co-founder Berend decided to stop at Moneybird. He had other dreams to pursue. Then you have a discussion with Joost. Okay, what are we going to do? Are we selling the company? Are we going to move forward? We decided to move forward. We got a chance to also to buy Berend's share. So we had the conversation, but we knew, okay, we are happy with what we are doing. We have a lot of ideas for the future. So we kept on going. And other times is also we are a valuable business, and so a lot of companies are interested in buying us. So sometimes they really are with the big bag of money on wrangling on our door. They have also a discussion. Okay, what if we take the money, and what if we quit? And every time it turns back around to, okay, it's great to have a big bag of money and sitting on the couch, but that's not something we are going to be happy with. So we are probably going to find some other product to develop. And then you have a Moneybird with a great team, with a lot of customers you can do things for. You have a great scale also. Then Moneybird is the best thing that you want to spend time on. So we probably shouldn't sell Moneybird and keep on going.
Yeah.
So these mind exercises are great to have. Also to get the confirmation that what we are doing with our life and what we want to do in our life is still the best thing to do.
It kind of relates back then to what the realization earlier as well, right? That this status things, there's no point. Like,
no.
I mean, that is something I think which is a skill that is madly underappreciated, that you enjoy the journey instead of the end destination.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I had some great conversation with a friend of mine that has sold his business, and he was giving a presentation lately with about how this went and how he got in the negotiations with all these parties and such. And we were back. I was talking to him later on, and I said it's a great story to have. I really hope I have such a story once in the future. And also, as soon as you sell your company or get a large investment, all these things, then you get a lot of media attention. And then you are really you belong to the entrepreneurs. Working as an entrepreneur and just grinding away every day, no one knows this. But as soon as you have funding rounds or exits, then probably suddenly, or even if you go broke, then suddenly everyone is paying attention. But he responded in a way that it's great to have this story, but you should realize that you don't have your company anymore later on, and you are not associated with your company anymore. Now I'm Edwin from Moneybird, and I get invited on podcasts talking about what I'm doing. As soon as I sell my business, who am I, and how can I make an impact again with the things I like to do?
And then you have to sort of start from zero again.
And of course you're not really on zero because you have a lot of knowledge and experience, but still, I think starting a second business after going from zero to what we are now is going to be hugely more complicated, because at first, when I needed to do support, I had fun with it and I learned a lot about it. But if I need to do it again now, I know it's important, but I don't want to do it anymore because that time was in the past. Suddenly you need to hire people and you are going to build a business in a completely different way. That's probably not really the best recipe for success, maybe.
From your perspective, do you think there are downsides to chasing your passion?
Well, I think you should always be aware about how deep are you going to follow your passion. If you are really passionate about something, there is the risk of working too much or thinking about it all the time. And this risk I also have myself. If I have an idea in my head, I can think about it for weeks. And if I'm not paying attention, it can be also something you are thinking about at night or when you are with your family, for example. So that's something you can follow it too passionately, maybe. I know now how to deal with this, and I also know that I can just shut it down and think about it later. But that's something, if you really want to follow something, it can take up a lot of time and effort, of course, and that's not always the best for you as a person, I think.
Do you have a family?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have a wife and 2 kids.
So my girlfriend is expecting. She will have our first baby in June.
Great, congratulations.
Thank you. And obviously, as a first-to-be father, I'm trying to figure out what is the good balance between, relationship, but still pushing this forward and making sure money comes in, and et cetera, et cetera. So in that sense, I am quite curious if you have any advice as far as balancing all of that goes.
Yeah, do I have advice? For me, I was very lucky that once we got kids, that the money side of Moneybird was going well enough that I didn't need to worry about this. So gotcha. That's something I was really lucky with. The part with finding a balance between work and life is and also the baby. You are going to be having a lot less time to to follow your passion. I used to work also during evenings because I had an idea and I just wanted to work on it, not because it was required, but I wanted to work on it. And now, if once I get the kids to bed, I'm completely exhausted and I just want to sit on the bank and do nothing anymore.
Yeah.
And that's something that changes. And sometimes that's a shame. But on the other hand, you need to enjoy the time and be there and put them to bed. And but also during the weekends do nice things and not think about the work. And Joost and I both decided to start working part time when we got kids. So I always have the Wednesday with the kids, and I enjoy that a lot. It's very important. Also have a balance with our wives that also have busy jobs, but that's something we decided to do as an entrepreneur also. The Moneybird will always be there, and the 8 hour extra we can put in is not really going to change anything, especially now the team is growing. So really choosing for the family instead of going all for Moneybird and never be there, and that's and that's the flexibility that business gives, and that's something that's very very valuable. Especially if you see the other side, both our wives are in the healthcare, and their flexibility over there is zero. You just need to be there and take care of the patients, which is very important, of course. But being the very flexible dad on the other side, it has a lot of benefits over there.
So, as mentioned already, there's a jar in front of you. I collected community questions. I would like to ask you to take one from there, read it out, also who commented, and then give your opinion on it.
So this is from Melee BRG. Nele. What was a life-changing moment for you? Yeah. There are these cheesy ones like the birth of my children or something. That's really life changing. There are a lot of things you see coming and work hard for, and also Moneybird can be. Without Moneybird, my life would really be different. But on the other hand, it just started with a very very small idea and a small script as a freelancer, and now became this big $1 million business with a lot of employees and customers. So was it? That might be life changing, but at the moment it wasn't really. You didn't really realize that it was life changing.
Yeah,
and I think your lives are. Maybe I had a life-changing event yesterday, but I didn't know about it because I met the right person that is going to evolve Moneybird in something completely different.
Yeah.
But the question is if you are really aware of at the moment that's the life-changing aspect of it, or if you look back at it in a few years that you say, okay, that was the time this podcast maybe made something going on. Someone got introduced to us maybe, and you didn't know that it was life-changing.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. I'm already at my last question. And that question is, what does the future hold for Edwin?
Besides just the family life and enjoying that, we at Moneybird have a lot of ideas about automating things even more. But we also, Joost and I also started thinking about what the future for our future at Moneybird is. And we always did the management of Moneybird with the two of us, but also meant that a lot of everything came to us, and it was a lot of work. So last year we decided to expand the management of Moneybird and also get 2 more in the board to really help us move forward, but also to spread the work more. And this gives us also, that was a little bit of a part of the ambition, also the option to say maybe we can do a sabbatical in a few years to really test out if we can go away for a few months and Moneybird really works out great. So that's something Joost is already planning, and we have also some ideas, not really concrete yet, but it's something we want to do to really enjoy life with the family as long as the kids are young and we are able as parents, of course, because we are also getting not that old, but you're getting older every year. So we really want to enjoy these things, and that's what we. It's part of professionalizing Moneybird and the organization of Moneybird, but also making sure we still have fun at running Moneybird with not a lot of stress and the great people around us that help us out, and also giving a little bit of flexibility that might have gone away a little bit because we are growing that fast, giving us back a little bit of flexibility of going on an extended holiday or something.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, really nice questions.
Really are someone who's very aware of the important things in life, and that's refreshing to see. So I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.